In a world where opportunity and risk walk hand in hand, many are told that the path to success is paved with borrowed money. We hear about the power of leveraging debt, how loans can fuel businesses, how credit can open doors, how mortgages are a gateway to homeownership and wealth. Yet behind that glossy promise, countless people find themselves shackled by obligations, weighed down by interest payments, and caught in cycles they never intended to enter. But there is another way, a way less advertised, perhaps less glamorous at first glance, but infinitely more sustainable. It's the skill of leveraging intellect instead of debt. It's the art of using your mind, your creativity, and your resourcefulness as your capital. Imagine a young woman in a crowded city, her dreams bigger than her bank account. She watches others chase their ambitions by taking on loans, student loans, car loans, business loans. She feels the pressure to do the same, to keep up, to not fall behind. But she pauses. She asks herself, what do I truly have to offer? What can I build with what I already possess? She decides that instead of borrowing money, she will invest in herself. Leveraging intellect means seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. It's about questioning assumptions, like the idea that you need a huge amount of startup money to begin. Instead, you start with what you know, what you can learn, and who you can connect with. It's realizing that in the digital age, information is currency, and acquiring knowledge is often free. There are online courses, libraries filled with wisdom, mentors willing to share their experience, and communities eager to collaborate. Leveraging intellect means being strategic. It's about finding smarter ways to solve problems. When you don't have the cash to hire a team, you learn new skills. When resources are limited, you become resourceful. You barter, you negotiate, you find partners who share your vision. You focus on building value before accumulating liabilities. The stories of those who have succeeded by leveraging intellect are everywhere. If you look past the headlines, consider the young coder who built an app in her spare time, learning through free tutorials and networking in tech forums. She didn't take out expensive loans to fund her project. She invested her evenings and weekends, growing her skills and her idea until it gained traction. Or the freelance designer who started with a borrowed laptop, using free software and building a portfolio by helping small businesses in his neighborhood. He leveraged his creativity and persistence, not a credit line. This approach isn't about avoiding risk altogether. It's about managing risk intelligently. Debt can amplify gains, but it can also magnify losses. Intellect, on the other hand, compounds over time. The more you invest in yourself, the greater your capacity to adapt, to innovate, to seize unexpected opportunities. Leveraging intellect means developing a learning mindset. It's about approaching every challenge as a puzzle to solve, every setback as feedback, every success as a lesson. You learn to ask better questions, to seek out diverse perspectives, to experiment and iterate. When you encounter an obstacle, you look for ways around it. New tools, new strategies, new alliances. It's also about emotional intelligence. Leveraging intellect isn't just about raw brain power. It's about understanding people, building relationships, communicating effectively, and navigating complex social landscapes. The ability to empathize, to persuade, to inspire. These are forms of capital that can open doors money cannot. In practical terms, leveraging intellect can look like many things. It might mean bootstrapping a business, minimizing overhead, and focusing on organic growth. It could mean prioritizing education, not just for degrees, but for lifelong skills: public speaking, negotiation, time management, and resilience. It could mean using your analytical skills to spot trends before others do, or to find efficiencies that others miss. Consider the writer who self-publishes her first book after learning the ins and outs of editing, design, and marketing. She bypasses traditional gatekeepers, keeps her costs low, and leverages her online presence to reach readers directly. She owns her work, her process, and her future earnings. Or the nonprofit founder who starts with a vision, a laptop, and a network of friends. She leverages her passion and her ability to rally others, creating impact without ever taking on debt. There's a freedom that comes from building on your intellect. When you aren't burdened by repayments, your choices are your own. You can pivot, adapt, and take calculated risks. You can weather downturns with more resilience. You can grow at your own pace, on your own terms. This path isn't always easy. It demands patience, discipline, and sometimes humility. There will be moments when progress seems slow, when shortcuts seem tempting, when everyone else seems to be speeding ahead. But over time, the compounding effects of knowledge, relationships, and skill create a foundation that is far stronger than any borrowed capital. Leveraging intellect doesn't mean you never use debt. Sometimes a well-placed loan or investment can accelerate growth. The difference is that by relying first on your intellect, you are in control. You understand the risks, you have the skills to manage them, and you never bet more than you can afford to lose. You make debt work for you, not the other way around. Think of the thousands of entrepreneurs who have built thriving businesses from nothing but a great idea and relentless learning. Think of the professionals who've climbed the ladder not by buying credentials, but by mastering their craft, building trust, and seizing opportunities. Think of the artists, the activists, the educators, the problem solvers, people who've changed the world, not because they had the deepest pockets, but because they had the sharpest minds and the strongest hearts. So the next time you face a crossroads, whether it's starting a new venture, pursuing an education, or making a personal investment, pause. Ask yourself, how can I leverage my intellect instead of debt? What skills can I build? What knowledge can I gain? Whose wisdom can I seek? What creative solutions can I find? Because in the end, your mind is the most valuable asset you will ever own. Money can be lost, markets can change, debts can grow, but what you know and who you become cannot be taken from you. Leverage that. Build your future on the solid ground of your intellect, and you will create a life and legacy that are truly your own.